Welcome to the Biology Career Insights podcast. This is the podcast where we listen to the stories shaping the world of biotechnology. In each episode, we speak with inspiring leaders, scientists, founders, and innovators about their career journeys, the decisions they made, the challenges they faced, and the lessons they learned along the way. We also bring you the science, ideas, and real-world stories driving progress across biotech, pharma, and life sciences today. Whether you are a student, researcher, entrepreneur, or industry professional, this podcast is designed to inform, inspire, and connect you to the people building the future of biotech. Let's get started. Now, normally we are looking at the careers of others, but today we are turning the microscope onto ourselves a little bit. We are taking a deep dive into the biology of human performance. And we're tackling a question that I think every single person has asked themselves while, staring at their alarm clock or their running shoes. And that is there actually a best time to work out?
It is the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, let's be honest, fitting exercise into a busy schedule is it's just this eternal struggle. You're either groggy in the morning, totally swamped at lunch, or just completely exhausted by the evening. So yeah, we wanted to know, does the science point to a specific window where our biology is just ready to go?
And usually the answer you get from a trainer or, a magazine is just whenever you can, which is true, of course, but it's not the whole story, not even close.
Right.
So for this deep dive, I've pulled together a whole stack of sources that go way beyond that simple advice. We've got insights from health experts on physiological rhythms, analysis of muscle function, hormone response, and some really fascinating data from a massive study. We're talking 90,000 participants.
90,000. Wow. Okay, that's a serious sample size.
It's massive, yeah. And the goal here is to move past that simple morning birds versus night owls debate. We want to really uncover the physiological and the psychological advantages of these different time slots. Because as it turns out, your body's doing very different things at 6 a.m. versus 6 p.m.
Okay, let's unpack this. And I want to start where the day starts. The morning, there's this sort of mythology around the morning workout, right? The whole 5 a.m. club.
Oh, yeah.
The idea that if you crush a workout before the sun is even up, you've won the day. It's almost treated like a moral victory.
There is definitely a strong psychological edge to the morning routine. The sources really highlight that the allure for a lot of people is just getting it done, before the chaos of the day begins. But it goes deeper than just scheduling.
Right. It's that sense of accomplishment. You walk into the office or you log on to your first Zoom and you've already done the hardest thing you're going to do all day. It's a huge ego boost.
And that ego boost has a biological component. We're talking about that post-workout endorphin release. If you trigger that first thing in the morning, you are literally, chemically, setting a positive tone for the entire day.
So you're riding this neurochemical high.
You're riding a high that makes all the other tasks feel a little more manageable. You're basically preloading your brain with feel-good chemicals.
So psychologically, you're primed. But what about logistically? Because the big counter-argument is always, I'm so tired and my bed is so warm. Is there a practical reason to suffer through that alarm?
Logistically, the morning is often the safest bet. And by safe, I mean it's the most protected time slot.
Protected?
Yeah, think about it. At 6 a.m., nobody is scheduling a surprise meeting. Your kids, if you have them, might still be asleep. Your friends aren't asking you to meet for happy hour. It's really the only time of day that hasn't been claimed yet by work or, social events, family stuff.
That's a great point. It eliminates that decision fatigue later in the day where you're trying to bargain with yourself about whether you really have time to go to the gym.
Exactly. It creates a sense of freedom. Once it's done, it's done. You aren't carrying that stress of finding time with you all day. And it establishes a consistent routine because the main variable, which is the rest of the world, isn't awake yet to interrupt you. You are operating in this little vacuum of responsibility, which is rare.
But we have to address the elephant in the room, or maybe the elephant in the stomach, the energy issue. If I wake up at 6 a.m., I feel like I'm running on fumes. I haven't eaten in 8 hours. How do we fuel that morning engine without feeling sick during the workout?
Right, because working out on an empty stomach feels terrible for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And this is where the nutritional advice from our sources gets really specific. You are in a fasted state if you just roll out of bed. Your glycogen stores, that's the sugar stored in your muscles and liver, are depleted. So the goal is a balanced breakfast, but it have to be strategic. You want carbs for immediate energy, protein for your muscles, and some healthy fats.
Okay, give me the menu. What are we eating that won't, weigh us down?
The sources suggest things like whole grain cereals or Greek yogurt with fruit, The yogurt gives you that protein punch. The fruit gives you quick sugar. But, and this is the key thing, you need to allow enough time for digestion. You can't just eat a big bowl of oats and then immediately go run sprints.
See, that's the catch. If I'm working out at 6x10, I don't want to wake up at 5-star just to eat yogurt. That cuts into sleep, which is already so precious.
Right, and that's the most common barrier. So if eating early is hard, or you just aren't hungry, which is very common, that sort of stomach closed feeling, the experts offer a not hungry hack.
I need this hack.
So you could try eating a simple energy bar, something really light, or, and this is a really underutilized strategy, focus on a bedtime snack the night before.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, if you top off your fuel stores before you sleep with a healthy, complex carb snack, you wake up with a little more in the tank. You aren't starting from absolute zero.
I like the night before strategy. It feels like you're doing a favor for your future self. It's like laying out your clothes, but for your metabolism.
Exactly.
Okay, so morning is about psychology, logistics, and protecting your time. But let's flip the clock. Let's talk about the evening, because I know plenty of people who, they physically cannot function in the morning, but at 6 p.m. they are ready to crush it.
And physiologically, they might be onto something big. While the morning has that psychological edge, the evening often has the performance edge.
Really? So the body's actually more capable later in the day?
For many people, yes. Bodily performance often peaks in the late afternoon or early evening. I mean, think about what's happened by then. Your body is physically woken up. You've been moving, walking, sitting. Your joints are lubricated. Your core temperature is up.
And you've eaten.
You've likely had 2 or 3 meals, so your glycogen stores, your energy reserves are totally full. You're not starting from a deficit like you are in the morning. You're fully online. But there's a deeper physiological concept here that our sources really emphasized. It's called oxygen uptake kinetics.
Okay, that sounds like a term we need to decode. It sounds expensive. What does that mean in plain English?
It sounds complex, but the idea is actually pretty simple. It's all about efficiency. Oxygen uptake kinetics refers to how quickly and efficiently your body can take in oxygen, deliver it to your tissues, and then, this is the crucial part, how effectively those tissues can use that oxygen to create energy. Think of it like a car engine warming up.
So it's the entire supply chain of oxygen in your body.
Exactly. And the research suggests that this whole system is just more favorable in the evening. Your body is essentially primed for performance. The fuel efficiency is better. The lag time between your brain saying, I need oxygen, and your muscles getting it is shorter. Which makes the evening the ideal window for high-intensity activities. So if you're doing HIIT, speed work on the track, or some heavy lifting, your body is biologically more prepared to handle that kind of load at 5 p.m. than at 5 a.m.
That makes total sense. I've definitely noticed that if I try to lift heavy first thing, my joints feel stiff, the weights literally feel heavier, but in the evening I feel looser. It's like the machine is running smoother. But, and here's where it gets really difficult, the evening has a dark side.
The downside, yeah.
The morning is protected from distractions. The evening is basically a magnet for them. Long day at work, stressful boss, you're shuttling kids around. The motivation to go to the gym can be absolute zero.
That mental fatigue is very real. But there's also a biological risk to evening workouts that we need to talk about, specifically when it comes to sleep. It's what I call the cortisol trap.
Cortisol. That's the stress hormone, right? I usually associate that with work stress, not gym stress.
It is. But intense exercise is a stressor on the body. Biologically, your body doesn't really distinguish between I'm running on a treadmill and I'm running from a lion.
Right.
It raises your heart rate, your body temperature, and your cortisol levels. So if you do a really high-intensity workout right before bed, you are flooding your system with awake signals.
So you finish your workout, you feel great, but then you're just staring at the ceiling at midnight because your body thinks it's still in fight or flight mode.
That's it, exactly. It can cause difficulty falling asleep or even cause you to wake up in the middle of the night. It's called cortisol disruption. You're fighting your own circadian rhythm.
Right.
So the actionable advice from the sources is really clear here. If you have to exercise late, close to bedtime, pivot your strategy.
So don't do the heavy lifting or the sprinting.
Right. Choose lower intensity stuff. Go for a walk, do some light lifting, maybe some yoga, something that doesn't spike that stress response so drastically. You want movement, not panic.
And what about food? We talked about fueling in the morning. What about recovery in the evening? Because I feel like people are afraid to eat late. There's that old myth, right, that if you eat after 8 p.m., it instantly turns to fat.
That's a common fear. But recovery is non-negotiable. If you've worked out, your muscles need to be repaired. The recommendation is to eat a nutrient-rich meal within 2 hours post-workout. You aren't storing the food, you're using it to rebuild the tissue you just broke down.
So don't skip dinner just because it's late?
Absolutely not. But make it smart. The sources suggest things like grilled chicken with quinoa and vegetables, or a protein-packed stir-fry. You're replenishing and refueling with quality building blocks, not just loading up on, heavy grease that's going to disrupt your sleep even more.
Okay, so morning is for consistency and mental health. Evening is for peak performance, but you have to watch out for sleep. But there's a third player in this game, isn't there? The afternoon.
The afternoon surprise. This was actually one of the most fascinating parts of the research for me, because it really challenges that binary choice of morning versus evening.
Usually the afternoon is just associated with one thing, the slump. That dreaded 3 p.m. wall where your brain turns to mush and you just want to nap.
We all know that feeling. And interestingly, the sources cite a one-poll survey suggesting that a simple walk is the most effective way to reset during that slump. It actually beats caffeine for resetting your physical and mental energy.
A simple walk, better than coffee.
Just a walk. It gets the blood moving. It clears out metabolic waste from your muscles and your brain. Caffeine just masks the tiredness. Movement actually resolves it. But if we look at the hard data, the afternoon gets even more impressive. There's this study, the big one, with 90,000 people.
The one you mentioned earlier, yeah. What did they find?
They found that working out in the afternoon reduced the risk of heart disease or early death more than physical activity in either the morning or the evening.
Wait, really? So statistically, the afternoon exercisers lived longer?
According to this data set, yes. And the real detail here is that these benefits were most pronounced for men and for seniors. It wasn't a massive margin, but it was statistically significant.
Do we know why? Or is it just a correlation for now?
The sources don't definitively pin down the why, but the speculation is it likely has to do with circadian rhythms and maybe the way the body handles stress and recovery during that midday window. It might be the Goldilocks zone, the body's awake and fueled, but not yet exhausted from the day.
It's a fascinating data point. And it's also a huge deal for shift workers, right? We often give this advice assuming everyone works 9 to 5.
Absolutely. If you work nights or irregular shifts, the morning workout advice is totally useless for you. In fact, waking up early might mean cutting into your sleep. So a midday or early afternoon workout lets you get extra sleep in the morning, which is crucial, and gives you prep time before a late shift. It can actually be the biological sweet spot for that demographic.
I love that. It validates everyone who sneaks out for a lunch break run. They aren't slacking off, they're extending their lifespan.
They are.
Okay, so we've covered the when. Now I want to talk about the how. Because for a lot of our listeners, the issue isn't really morning versus evening. It's I literally do not have time. We're all so busy.
I don't have time is the universal barrier.
Yeah.
But the sources have some really creative ways to reframe this. It's about finding time where you think none exists.
One of my favorites from the reading was this concept of snack competing.
Yes. Snack competing. I love this term. It sounds like a sport.
It does. Explain this to me because it sounds like a competitive eating contest, but I assume it's the opposite.
It's definitely the opposite. It addresses a very specific behavior, sitting on the couch in the evening and mindlessly snacking. We've all been there. You're watching TV, you're decompressing, and suddenly a whole bag of chips is gone.
Guilty. It happens before you even realize it.
So the strategy is to replace that specific time slot with a workout. You are competing with your snack habit. Instead of reaching for the chips, you reach for the dumbbells or your running shoes.
So you get a double benefit.
Exactly. You burn calories by exercising, but you also avoid consuming the calories you would have eaten if you were just sitting there. It's a net positive on both sides of the equation. It targets the most sedentary part of your day and just flips it on its head.
That is brilliant. It's utilizing time you're already wasting. But what if you don't even have that hour? What if your day is just wall-to-wall meetings from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m.?
Then you embrace the micro-workout. The sources suggest breaking activity up. The rule mentioned is 6 10-minute sessions.
6 10-minute sessions? That sounds so manageable.
It is. If you can find 10 minutes 6 times a day, maybe a brisk walk between calls, a quick bodyweight circuit before lunch, taking the stairs, by the end of the day, you've hit 60 minutes of exercise. And the health benefits are cumulative. You don't need a solid hour block to get those heart health benefits.
That is so freeing. It stops you from thinking, well, I only have 20 minutes, so it's not even worth it.
It is always worth it. Your heart doesn't know you took a break. It just knows it worked for 60 minutes total today.
And one last note on strategy, especially for the weekend warriors who might go long. The experts say that if a workout exceeds 90 minutes, the nutrition rules change again.
Right, this is for the endurance crowd, the people doing the long runs or bike rides on Saturdays. If you're going over 90 minutes, mid-workout nutrition becomes absolutely pivotal. You have to incorporate carb-rich snacks during the workout to prevent fatigue.
Because your fuel tank runs out.
Your glycogen stores, yeah, that tank we talked about, it runs out after about 90 minutes of intensity. If you don't refuel, you crash. It's called bonking.
So if you're hiking for 3 hours, bring a snack.
Exactly. It's not about the calories, it's about keeping the system online.
Okay, so bringing this all together, we have the morning for the discipline routine, that mental clarity. We've got the evening for peak performance, as long as you manage the cortisol. And we have the afternoon for, surprisingly, longevity. It feels like there's no wrong answer, but there are different right answers depending on your goals.
That is the perfect way to put it. The verdict from all the sources is that consistency is king. While timing have these fascinating physiological nuances, the best time is simply the one that fits your schedule, the one you will actually do.
Because the physiological benefit of a perfect evening workout is zero if you skip it because you're tired.
Exactly. The bottom line is, any time of day is better than no exercise when it comes to reducing your risk of death from heart disease and cancer. The best workout is always the one that happens.
So the call to action here is really about experimentation. Don't just stick to a routine because you think you should. Try a week of mornings. Try a week of evenings. See how your body feels.
Be a scientist of your own physiology. See when you feel strongest, when you sleep best, what allows you to be consistent. Just collect your own data.
And as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over. We talked about how the evening might be best for performance, for hitting a personal best, but the afternoon might be best for longevity, for living longer. It raises a really interesting question. Are we training for the scoreboard today, or are we training for our health 20 years from now? And does your workout schedule reflect that goal?
That is a powerful question. It definitely makes you rethink why you're lacing up those shoes in the first place.
Thank you all for listening to this deep dive. We hope you found your optimal window.
Thanks, everyone. Keep moving.
See you next time.